Good afternoon, dear students. In the previous class, we were discussing about supply. What do you mean by supply? The supply schedule and the supply curve. So, the supply curve is the level of output that on x-axis that firm chooses different values of market price. This is what we call it as supply curve. Okay, in simple words, supply curve means it is a level of output which we consider on x-axis that a firm chooses at different level of market price. Market price we will consider on y-axis. Okay, so what is the firm's decision? What is how much it wants to select the output at different market prices? So that we call it as supply curve. Now, this supply curve we will try to understand in short run how our supply curve looks, and in long run how what is my supply curve. That we are going to understand here. So first we will start with the short run. So, hope you understand this. Supply curve means it is the level of output which firm chooses at different values of market price. And the ಬೇರೆ market price ಅಲ್ಲಿ firm ಯಾವ output ನ supply ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ select ಮಾಡುತ್ತಲ್ಲ, what is the quantity it wants to produce at different market price, that we call it as supply. Suppose this is the price and this is the quantity output at this price at different value of market price. At this market price, what is the output, level of output, what is the quantity it wants to produce or chooses to produce. At this market price, what is the output, what is the quantity a firm chooses to produce. This we call it as supply curve. Okay, that we can graphically represent in this way. If suppose price is 8 rupees, supply you want to produce 500. If price is 10 rupees, then it wants to produce 1000, like this. So what is the firm selection at different values of market price? What is the quantity it wants to select to as an output? Okay, this we call it as supply. That how it looks in short run, that we are going to understand. Short run supply curve of firm we are going to learn now. So here we are trying to understand the supply curve of a firm, fine? But we know the behavior of the firm. It wants to maximize its profit. Okay? As we know, the firm here it is a profit maximizer, and we also discussed that there are three conditions. If the firm follows those three conditions, then it will get a right quantity. First condition is price should be equal to marginal cost, and MC curve should be non-decreasing curve, and the third condition is price should be greater than average variable cost, or price should be greater than average cost in long run. So if a firm, as I said, what do you mean by supply? It is the output which firm chooses at different market price. Okay, so what is the output firm chooses at different market price? ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಯಾವ ಔಟ್ಪುಟ್ ನ ಯಾವ ಕ್ವಾಂಟಿಟಿನ ಫರ್ಮ್ ಸೆಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ ಡಿಫರೆಂಟ್ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್ ಪ್ರೈಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. ಸಪೋಸ್ ಫರ್ಮ್ ಸೆಲೆಕ್ಟೆಡ್ ಸಮ್ ಕ್ವಾಂಟಿಟಿ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಇಟ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ದಟ್ ಅಟ್ ದಟ್ ಕ್ವಾಂಟಿಟಿ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಮೇಕಿಂಗ್ ಮ್ಯಾಕ್ಸಿಮಮ್ ಪ್ರಾಫಿಟ್ ಅಂತಾನೆ ಅರ್ಥ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಸಪೋಸ್ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್ ಪ್ರೈಸ್ ಇಸ್ 10 rupees, then firm chooses to produce 1000 units at this price. Firm decide to produce this much of quantity, then it means that firm is getting maximum profit at this market price if it produces 1000 units. So now firm decided that it will produce 1000 units at this price. So whether at this quantity, if we graphically represent that this is 1000, okay, and this is the price. Right. So at this price, at this quantity, whether the firm if it selected this means it is making the maximum profit. So maximum profit sigma idea will okay. We need to understand that whether we are satisfied all these three conditions. Illi, this is the quantity 1000, okay. This is MC curve and this is average cost. Now, illi enidella firm decided to produce 1000 units at this price because it is making maximum profit here. We will check that now whether it is true or not. First condition is price should be equal to marginal cost. Here if you see at this quantity my price is equal to my marginal cost because ಈ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಏನಿದೆ ಇದು ಮಾರ್ಜಿನಲ್ ಕಾಸ್ಟ್ ಕರ್ವ್ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ ಈ ಕರ್ವ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಇದೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವುದೇ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ತಗೊಂಡ್ರು you take here or here or here anywhere it gives you marginal cost. ಅದು ನಮ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತು ಬಿಕಾಸ್ a point is on this marginal cost curve. But ಇಲ್ಲಿ ತಗೊಂಡಾಗ ಏನಾಗಿದೆ marginal cost ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ that is equal to my price. Right? So this first condition is satisfied. Second condition is marginal cost curve should be rising curve. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ MC curve is rising curve and it cuts this price from the bill. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕೆಳಗಡೆಯಿಂದ ಕಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗ್ತಿದೆ marginal cost curve ಈ ಪ್ರೈಸ್ ನ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ this second condition also satisfied. Third condition is if this is short run, price should be greater than average variable cost. If the average variable cost, if if you see at this quantity, price is price. And if you see average variable cost, that is here. Okay, because this is average variable cost curve. So even at the third condition, whether it is satisfied or not, price is greater than average variable cost. Price here it is greater than average variable cost. This is price, this is average variable cost. So hangagi price ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇದೆ. So this also satisfied. So hangagi a firm selected this quantity at this price because this quantity it is satisfying all these three conditions. It means that at this level of output it can make maximum profit. Okay, this is what we need to understand. So hangiruvaga the supply curve hingagirutte. This is an output. ಇದು ಈ ಔಟ್ಪುಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅದು ಮ್ಯಾಕ್ಸಿಮಮ್ ಪ್ರಾಫಿಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಸಪ್ಲೈ ಕರ್ವ್ ಹಿಂಗಿರುತ್ತೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ. So to understand that, first we need to know profit maximization at this price. There are two cases again. We need to understand in those two cases what is this profit, whether it is making maximum profit or not. That we are going to understand. Andre ಇಲ್ಲಿ short run ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಸಪ್ಲೈ ಕರ್ವ್ ಏನು ಅಂತ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ ವಿ ನೀಡ್ ಟು ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಅದು ಯಾವ ಪ್ರೈಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರಾಫಿಟ್ ತಗೋತಾ ಇದೆ, at what price it is making maximum profit. So ಅಲ್ಲಿಂದ we can find out the supply curve. So ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ನಾವು ಏನು ಮಾಡೋಣ ಅಂದ್ರೆ first we will try to find out whether it is making maximum profit or not at different values of market prices. Now the first case here, ಏನು ಅಂದ್ರೆ if price is greater than or equal to average variable cost in short run, then whether it can make profit there or not. So that we are going to understand. This is first case. So ಇಲ್ಲಿ in this we are telling that if price is greater than or equal to average value average variable cost, then it can make profit. That's what we are telling. So we will understand that whether it is true or not in this graphical representation. This is x-axis and this is y-axis. So here in y-axis you will take price or cost. Price because we need to understand at what market price we are supplying. Hangagi price ಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ. Cost ಏನಂತಂದ್ರೆ to get the marginal cost, average cost. Hangagi price or cost you will take in y-axis and in x-axis that is output. Now as we know it is O. We have a price here, one price. This is short run marginal cost, and we have average variable cost here, and we have the short run average cost. Okay, so if here In this first case is that a price P is the price here. Okay. So if my price is greater than or equal to average variable cost at this level, I will make a maximum profit. We will see now. So what is the quantity we need to select? We need to select the quantity Q1. This quantity should satisfy all the three conditions. This quantity, whatever we are selecting, at that quantity, a quantity in it has to satisfy all these three conditions. And first condition is price should be equal to marginal cost, and marginal cost curve should be increasing curve, and P should be greater than average variable cost or equal. So now we will see that this is my price. Okay. This is market price, and here the first condition says that price should be equal to marginal cost. So where is my marginal cost curve? This is the marginal cost curve. Okay. So on this curve, at which point this marginal cost and the price they are meeting. If you see, this is the point. At this point, the marginal cost and the price both are meeting here. Okay. This we consider it as a quantity. So for will produce OQ1 quantity at this price, because at this price is equal to marginal cost. I will mention that price equal to MC. This satisfies the first condition. Fine. This is the quantity, and now second condition is whether the marginal cost curve is increasing curve or not. At this point, if you see the marginal cost curve, it is increasing here. You can see this line. So it is increasing. This side it is decreasing. So that's why we will not consider this point, as we already discussed. Here also price P is equal to marginal cost. Here also this point, and this is the point where P equals marginal cost. When we have these 2 points, we will not consider this as a profit maximizing point, because here this marginal cost curve is decreasing curve. Correct? That is why we will get the maximum profit only if the marginal cost curve is increasing curve. It should be a rising one. At this point, we satisfy the second condition as well. Now we will look into the third one. Third one says that price should be greater than or equal to average variable cost. Now, if you see here, my price is here. Okay. Now I will try to find out the average variable cost. At this quantity, this is my average variable cost curve. This one. So it is cutting this quantity here at this point. So this is the average variable cost. E quantity now OQ1 produced by Conrad. What is my cost? That is here. This is my cost to produce this much of goods. And market value, what is the price I am getting? This is the price I am getting. Correct? So to produce this much of goods OQ1, my average variable cost is here, this much, and the market price to when I produce this quantity, market price is here, which is the price is greater than average variable cost. So this point it is satisfying the third condition as well. Hangagi, so if you see E point in the, this is the point which gives you maximum profit. So E point in the above line, he will at this line Why we take this marginal cost? Because this marginal cost is marginal cost is a price here, correct? So when it increases marginal cost, it means that here it is marginal cost means at this is the price. Like that we will take. So marginal cost and price both are same here because both should be equal. Price should be equal to marginal cost. That is why when marginal cost means it is indicator of the price of the market price. That is why ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ ಈ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಇಂದ ಅಂದ್ರೆ average cost ಇಂದ ಏನ್ ಮೇಲಿದೆಯಲ್ಲ marginal cost, so ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ from here he will start producing. ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಅವನು ಸಪ್ಲೈ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ. ಇದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಕೆಳಗಂದ್ರೆ he will not supply because he will be under loss. So we understood that at this point he will be getting profit and from here he will start supplying. Below this he will not supply. That is when price is greater than or equal to average variable cost. Now we will see if it is lesser than the average variable cost. The second case we will look into. Case 2 now here the price is less than average variable cost. Your price average variable cost is ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇದ್ದಾಗ he is satisfying all these three conditions, so he can start and produce. Hangagi above this he will produce which he is going to supply. Okay, illinda ಮೇಲ್ಗಡೆ this line he will produce and he will supply. That when price is greater than or equal to average variable cost. Now if price is less than average variable cost, can he produce, can he sell? That we will see now. Again this is X output and this is Y. This is, we take it as price cost. Now we will take the same curves. Always these curves behave like this. You need to understand the shapes of curves, cost curves, average variable cost, average cost and marginal cost. These are the U-shaped curves. I repeat this again, we have also discussed this, but still for your revision reminder, these curves are U-shaped curve. It means that initially the cost curve cost starts decreasing after reaching certain point. Okay, again the cost starts increasing. When the output increases, initially the cost starts decreasing. After certain point, the cost starts increasing. Okay. Here also the marginal cost initially starts decreasing and after some point it starts increasing. This is how these three curves behave. So we will take these three curves here. First one is short-term marginal cost, and second one is average variable cost, and third one is short-term average cost. If this is the price, okay, we'll take in the same graph here, other we can use this also. We have considered this as a quantity here. When price was here, we considered this as a quantity where the price was greater than average variable cost. This price was greater than average variable cost. Now we have a new price here. Okay, this price is lesser than average variable cost. Average variable cost, this is here, this is average variable cost. Now the new price is here. If you see, this price is lesser than average variable cost. The price ಏನಿದೆಯಲ್ಲ ಹೊಸ price, the new market price, it is lesser than average variable cost. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ OQ1 ಏನು ಕ್ವಾಂಟಿಟಿ ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಾನಲ್ಲ, ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ ಅವ್ನಿಗೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, to produce this quantity his cost is this much. The average variable cost is here. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಇಷ್ಟು ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ ಅವನಿಗೆ ಇಷ್ಟು ಖರ್ಚಾಗ್ತಿದೆ. But if you see the market price is here. Market price is which is lesser than average variable cost. So hingidaga can whether he is going to make profit or not, and whether he wish to produce and supply in the market or not. We will see that. To get the maximum profit, what needs to be done? He has to satisfy all these three conditions. We will see that at this price, this is the price now. This is average variable cost, and this is the marginal cost. Marginal cost is here, average cost is here, and price is here. What our first condition says? First condition says this price should be equal to marginal cost. Illi marginal cost illide, price illide. So it is not satisfying the first condition itself. ಯಾವಾಗ ಒಂದು ಕಂಡೀಷನ್ ಸ್ಯಾಟಿಸ್ಫೈ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೂ ಅದು ಅವನಿಗೆ ಮ್ಯಾಕ್ಸಿಮಮ್ ಪ್ರಾಫಿಟ್ ನ ತಂದು ಕೊಡೋದಿಲ್ಲ ಈ ಕ್ವಾಂಟಿಟಿ. ಇಫ್ he produces OQ1 quantity, ಈ quantity it will not give him a maximum profit because these three conditions is not satisfying. ಇಲ್ಲಿ marginal cost ಮತ್ತು price ಎರಡು ಸೇಮ್ ಇಲ್ಲ. If you see ನಾವು ಮುಂದೆ ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ marginal cost is increasing the fine, it is increasing, it's satisfying the second one. But if you see third one, the price should be greater than or equal to average variable cost. Price should be greater or equal, but ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ price is not greater, it is lesser than average variable cost. Average variable cost ಇಲ್ಲಿದೆ, price ಇಲ್ಲಿದೆ. So here it is not satisfying the third condition as well. The first and second, third conditions are not satisfied, means at this level he is not making any profit. When he is not making profit, do you think that he is going to produce this quantity? This quantity is not fetching him any profit here. So hangidaga at this market price he will never produce anything. He will not produce at this price because the price is lesser than variable cost here. And again, to produce unit he has to spend more, but if he sell in the market he will get very less. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟ್ ನ ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ ಸಿಕ್ಕಾಪಟ್ಟೆ ಖರ್ಚಾಗ್ತಿರುತ್ತೆ ಈ ಕ್ವಾಂಟಿಟಿಯಲ್ಲಿ, ಬಟ್ ಅದನ್ನ ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಸೇಲ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ ಹೋದ್ರೆ the revenue will be very less compared to his expenditure. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ why he will be producing, why he will go to produce, he will not produce at this price. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ಪ್ರೈಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಪ್ರೊಡಕ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ಇರೋದಿಲ್ಲ, it will be zero here. So he will try to produce only if the price is, this price is greater than variable cost. Now from first and second case we understood that at this price, okay, this curve it includes this first case also. First case price is greater than average variable cost, that is here. So this graph it includes first case also. So now ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಈ ಗ್ರಾಫ್ ನ ನೋಡೋಣ. When we combine first and second case, when we combine first and second case, we combine here. So here at this market price he will supply, at this price he will not supply. Andre when we combine this, so what is our the combined supply curve in short run? Our combined supply curve will be like this. Let's see here, right? I draw it here. This is x-axis output and y-axis is price or cost. So we have a marginal cost here, marginal cost curve, and we have average variable cost and short-term average cost. So if you see, in the price is greater than average variable cost at this point, and here price is lesser than average variable cost. So hangagi where this is the point we will consider here at this price. At this price where this price, the point where we get here the average cost curve, average variable cost curve, this curve is cutting this marginal cost curve from here. So where this average cost curve, average variable cost curve cuts this marginal cost curve, this intersecting point, if that is the price, then in short run he will supply this one. Above this point, if you see, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನ್ ಇರಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ನಾವು if price is greater than or equal to average variable cost. ಇಲ್ಲೇನಾಗಿದೆ price is equal here. Price is equal to average variable cost. ಅಂದ್ರೆ when price is equal to average variable cost and marginal cost, in this is the situation at this point, and above we will supply the goods. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಪ್ರೈಸ್ ಯಾವಾಗ average variable cost ಗೆ marginal cost equal ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ ಆ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಇಂದ this is the point where price is equal to average variable cost and marginal cost. At this point all the three are equal now. So at this point if you ask me what is his supply, from this point the above line, the part of this marginal cost, a marginal cost curve ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ ಇದು ಈ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಇಂದ above ಇಂದ ಮೇಲ್ಗಡೆದು this will become his supply curve. After this point whatever the above dark line you see, that is his supply curve. So if you can see this, right? So I will erase all the other things. This is short-term average cost. I will remove that. And this is average cost curve, average variable cost. This also I will remove. Okay. Here, this is average cost, average variable cost, and this is the marginal cost. So marginal cost curve, that also I will remove. If you see this, the left out part, this is part of marginal cost. Okay. Here, from here, average cost, price, and marginal cost, all the three are equal. From this point, whatever the marginal cost is there, the marginal cost curve portion, this is marginal cost curve. This part will become firm's supply curve. E part ಏನಿದೆಯಲ್ಲ, this part will become his supply curve. And then this is the quantity he wants to supply. From this point and above, he wants to produce and supply in the market. From below this point, he will not produce anything. Below, if we come below this point, then price will become lesser than average variable cost. If the price is lesser than average variable cost, then it is a loss for him. That is why when price is equal to average variable cost and above, here he can make profit, and this he will consider it as his supply curve. So we can say in short run, the supply curve of a firm is a point where the average cost, average variable cost and marginal cost of right will become equal. From that point and above, a part of marginal cost curve, that will become his supply curve in short run. Andre short run alli ಈ ಪ್ರೈಸ್ ಮತ್ತೆ average variable cost marginal cost ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಈಕ್ವಲ್ ಆಗಿರ್ತವಲ್ಲ ಆ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಇಂದ ಮೇಲ್ಗಡೆ marginal cost curve part ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ that part will become his supply curve. So that is how we will understand this short run supply curve of a firm. These three graphs represent all those. When price is greater than average variable cost, he will be under profit. He will continue production. If price is lesser than average variable cost, he will be under loss at this quantity, so he will not produce anything. That is why when all these three things are equal, from this point and above, he will supply the goods and he will make profit there. Yeah. So in the next class, I will stop here, and in the next class, we are going to understand the long run supply curve of a firm. This is about the short run. In short run, ಯಾವ ತರ supply curve ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಅದೇ ತರ long run ನಲ್ಲಿ what is his supply curve, that we are going to understand in the next class. Okay, thank you. Have a good day.